All right, what is the public safety exception? So, my name is Anthony Bandiero, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing you a roadside chat from Addison, Texas. I'm here teaching Addison police officers we're using the firehouse because they have a bigger training room. But so they get all this stuff, don't they? I mean, the firefighters. When I grow up big and strong, I want to be a firefighter. Okay, no, we love you guys. Just kidding. So this question comes from an officer in South Dakota. So we have a shooting suspect. Okay, we have a getaway vehicle. It's a homicide, and a male was shot. A few moments later, patrol stopped the vehicle, matching the description with a suspect inside, along a route that would be consistent with the shooting. After stopping the vehicle, the person was handcuffed, right? Inquired about where he came from. He basically talks about he dropped a female off in the alleyway. They also searched his car for a weapon. They found a shell casing. And I'm sure that shell casing did come back to the firearm used. He also ended up giving a name to a female, a first name. That female was later implicated in this case, right? And then moments later, he invoked the right to counsel. The question basically is, look, at the time of these inquiries, the shooter was unknown. We don't know if there's, other victims out there. We don't know if the shooting, and actually we don't know if the shooter was the male that was stopped in the car or the female he just dropped off. Could that help, with the public safety exception? Could that help, like, hey, if she's the shooter, she could be a danger and so forth. Let's walk through this there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. Number one is that I don't even think Miranda is going to be an issue here, right? I mean, I think the better argument is that at the time of the traffic stop, this driver is not in arrest-like custody. Sure, he's not free to leave. Sure, he was put in handcuffs. Sure, the cops probably have their weapons drawn at the low ready or something like that. However, the way the courts look at that is that would a reasonable person that kind of knew the circumstances of the traffic stop, understood that this guy was suspected of being a drive-by shooter and so forth, of a homicide, would a reasonable person understand that these type of techniques were reasonable in their circumstances? That's really how the courts kind of look at this. And certainly this is reasonable. If this guy was a shoplifter being put in handcuffs and treated like a homicide suspect, that's different. It's like, why are you doing that for the shoplifter? But this is not a shoplifter. This is a homicide suspect. So this level of intrusion is reasonable under Terry. Okay? So Miranda may not even apply here because we don't have the arrest-like custody. But even if we do, by the time he invokes his right to counsel, I guess, we start turning things off, right? And just, we go to our next investigation. But even if there was arrest-like custody required by Miranda, does the public safety exception work? I think that there's another very good argument. Hey, look, we have a potential shooter out there. Okay, so what is the public safety exception? The public safety exception is a doctrine that allows police officers to ask incriminating questions of a suspect, despite their invocation of Miranda, despite their invocation for counsel, or not even asking them Miranda. Just the fact that maybe Miranda applies, but even if they do invoke the right under Miranda, the silence and counsel, police can still ask these questions that are related to public safety if the police have objective reason to believe that their answers will help keep the public safe, or something particular safe, right? Okay, well, do we have a public safety emergency? If we have a shooter on the loose, especially if the crime seems random, right? I mean, the targeted violence, is a little tougher because it's hard to say that suspect may be looking for more victims, right? But if a cop can articulate that this suspect is, robbing convenience stores at gunpoint, and maybe the clerk got shot and so forth, this person on the loose, we need to find this person and get them in custody as soon as possible. Otherwise, they'll keep killing people, right? That is a good argument. The one thing I want to share with you, though, is you want to keep away from why type questions, right? It's one thing to say, where did you ditch the gun? It's another reason to say, why did you shoot them? The why question is likely not going to come in as a public safety exception, because the why is not going to help right now. Knowing why will not help save people, but knowing where the gun is can help keep the gun out of innocent people's hands that can shoot themselves. Knowing where another person involved in a shooting is, especially if you think that they could be the shooter as well, can help us keep the public safe. That's where I'm kind of going with this. So hopefully it makes a little sense. Interesting conversation. So if you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, comment below, share with your friends. All right. Hopefully I help you get it right every time. See you next time.